good time to be a Noakes.
It's always a good time to be a Noakes. Always a good time.
But what's like the family saying about it? What's Big John saying about it? What's Shazza saying about it? You've got all your belts, mate.
Yeah, they're all proud as punch, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? They're all a very supportive family, every one of them. We all get behind each other, and I think, yeah, Sean's grateful to see where he's doing. Obviously, him and Mickey Burke are doing a brilliant job down there, and I think it's showing, isn't it? So it's like I was saying earlier, so it's just shows that all the years you're putting in the hard work as an amateur when no one sees it, it's now starting to pay off.
It looks like it's not just going to be someone that you can run over, or is it?
No, I mean, well, the thing is, you don't get in the European mandatory spot without being able to fight, you know what I'm saying? So we know it's not going to be no layover, but I think doing them 12 rounds with Mendy has put me in a good place. Obviously, like, we've ticked that box of doing them rounds, doing that, so hopefully get a new streak starting September the 6th. That'd be nice, hopefully.
How important were those rounds? Because, it's great having your streak. The streak was incredible. We all loved it whilst it went. Mendy is a good kind of name to lose the streak to because no one knocks him out. So it's okay. But I guess you got the rounds, right? You know you can do 12. You know you can do it at a great pace against a good fighter. You learn a lot, right?
Yeah, I think I would say, as much as it pains me to say, it is probably what my career needed. You know what I'm saying? I know I can do that now. Gives me the confidence in that, also the experience of doing it with a good operator as well, as you said, and at a good pace. So I'm happy I've done it. I don't really want to do it again. That's where I'm at with that.
So that's your final 12 rounder?
Yeah, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
So on September the 6th, expecting a fight to go within the distance?
Yeah, hopefully. I'm hoping it. I don't want to do 12 rounds. Not two 12 rounds back to back, mate. No way. It'd be nice, get an early night. Obviously, I know we're going to have to work for it, but that's what we're preparing in the gym, you know what I'm saying? Been sparring well, and I'm up for that, so I'm more than capable of doing that within the 12 rounds, but I know it ain't going to be easy, but it never is, Dev. It never is.
But that's kind of you, coming from a different world kind of thing and trying to adapt to a whole new world. And you're what, 8 years old?
Yeah, 8.
Must have been quite difficult, but I know like you can make light of it now, like I punched his hand kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I was quite aggressive, so like I didn't really, even though people tried to pick on me, no one physically did anything to me, and if they did, I always stood my ground, so didn't really suffer from bullying too much. It was more like just left out and that type of stuff. But again, I got a good family around me who kept me straight, I guess.
Does that kind of helped make you who you are somewhat? You know, those early days where maybe you did feel left out, you still got your solid core of your family, but having to kind of fight against, you're a bit of an outsider.
Yeah, I mean, not to sound weird or anything like that, but my family didn't want me to box up until I won the ABAs. I remember my father got a phone call saying, "You know what your son just achieved?" He goes, "Nah," and they had no idea that I had won the nationals and the Tri-Nations and anything else after. But yeah, like I'm very used to just being independent, doing my own thing, chasing my own dream, and seeing how far I can get. But now I've got my family's full support. I've got a good community behind me now.
Good. It's about time, right? I mean, but it feels like I've been following your career since you signed with Warren Boxing Management. It feels like you've had to show a lot of patience, and that's like been a constant theme in your life. Do you agree?
I do agree. I mean, coming from the amateurs to the professional ranks, I think I won the amateurs the fastest anyone has ever won it. Like in terms of winning the elites, I had 14 fights in 4 months. I turned over to the professional leagues and turned over at the worst possible time because it was COVID and everything. And yeah, I was getting like 4 fights a year or something like that, which again, I'm very fortunate to get 4 fights a year, but there's a lot of waiting around. There's a lot of this, that, and I think that's what drove me crazy more than anything else. I just love to compete.
Right, Dimitri, the undisputed fight is officially confirmed. How happy are you?
I'm happy. I'm happy that I close to my goal.
You looking forward to the occasion?
Of course.
What will it mean to you to become an undisputed champion?
It's like you went to the finally stop in your career, I think, in this weight class.
Is it something you've been all your career been looking forward to?
Of course, this goal motivated me to be better, to go to the gym, to wake up in the morning. And this goal, which I see with open eyes, and which I want to reach.
Artur Beterbiev is the man in the way of that dream. How would you describe him?
He's a great fighter. He's a great puncher. Also, he has a good technique.
Yeah, you were meant to box on the Fury White show,
Yeah.
and your fight got pulled in fight week, and it was heartbreaking. I remember seeing you. Look at you now, a couple of years later, world champion, defending your belts.
It's mental. How my career has actually panned out from start to now is just, it's mind blowing. It's like, I feel like now it was all meant to be. Do you know what I mean? Like the way things have panned out, you know, fights falling through, injuries, blah blah blah, to lead me to Saudi Arabia is, it feels like it was just meant to be. You know what I mean?
And that was a heartbreaking time, though, a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, could you see a light at the end of the tunnel? Because you've had so many fights fall through, you've had so many things on the table which suddenly disappear from the table for a variety of reasons. Could you always see a light at the end of the tunnel, or did it sort of... I don't know.
I'd be lying if I said it did, to be honest. I didn't expect, see, where I'm at now, it was just, you know, it was so random. Simon rang me, offered me a fight in January, didn't tell me it was for a world title or anything like that, you know, and I just thought, it's a Saudi fight, great, happy days. And bang, I'm here now, beat the IBF champion. It's like, dreams come true, isn't it?
Has it sunk in that you are now, you know, you had the IBO title before,
Yeah.
the IBF is considered one of the big four, right?
Yeah.
Has that sunk in? You're the champ?
It's taken a while. It's taken a while now, to be honest. It's a great feeling, you know, around the estate and whatever else. Everyone's loving it and they're taking photos and whatever else. But inside, I find it hard to get used to it, like, you know what I mean?
You've probably had those conversations with your brothers in the past. You've been part of those conversations.
I have, yeah. Like I said, look, again, as close as we are, and it wouldn't be like, well, you told me, I'm going to tell you. But, you know, we sat down with Paul and said, look, you know, you maybe want to have a think about it now. And again, look, again, we're not going on about Paul and Paul's career. I think Paul was never finished ability-wise. Paul just, I don't know, he lost that fire to maybe get himself fit and in shape. And we just said, look, you know, have a think about it. And I'm 90% sure now. Well, I'm 100% sure now. My three brothers would tell me the same thing. Like, Liam, have a think about it now. Yeah. Look, if you want to carry on, it's your decision, but have a think about it. And not one of them said anything like that to me. They're all on the same page as me. They all know the issues I had. They all know, you know, what went on and why they went on. So it's down to me now to prove to people I had even finished.
So the fire right now is driven by proving people wrong? becoming world champion?
The fire for this performance is to get people back on board with, no, he's not finished yet. That's the fire for this. Like whether it was Josh Kelly or anybody else, the fire in my next fight after the rematch was, I've got to prove to people I'm not finished.
Have you got world title ambitions? Is that still...
Definitely, that was always the ambition. I've been world champion. I've made the money I've made or whatever I've made. I'm still in boxing. Like I said, I can retire happy, but I want a challenge to be a 2-time or 2-weight world champion.
You surprised a lot of people with your performance against Craig Richards, but I don't think you surprised yourself, did you?
I didn't surprise myself. All I said it from the get-go, do you know what I mean? And I'm going to say it from the get-go again. The same same thing will happen to him. And I believe I'll knock him out. I do.
How do you look back on the Richards fight?
I've never watched it back.
Why not? Career best performance, biggest stage of them all. Why do you not watch that back?
Yeah, it's just whatever's happened then. I've enjoyed it, and it was me who was doing it, and to me that's enough. I don't need to see it again. I go on to the next one now, and now even maybe even on a bigger platform than it was last time, over here in London, and the same thing will happen again.
That seemed like an emotional night for you. I watched your Boxing King Media, you know, they were there filming backstage when you were talking to, I think it was your sister on the phone as well.
No, it was my wife. It
was your wife?
Yeah.
You broke down?
I did. It was, but you know what it is? My family's a lot of lunatics. I got on the phone and I shouldn't have even spoke to any of the women. And as soon as he gets on the phone, they're sat there crying their eyes out, and I've turned into them. And it was a good feeling, do you know what I mean? So, it was a good feeling, and yeah, I was proud of myself.
Well, hello, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to London. We are now just hours away from Friday night boxing. Live on TNT Sports from 7 o'clock. It's another cracker from British boxing's spiritual home of York Hall. The main event, the return of the unbeaten British, Commonwealth, WBO International and European lightweight champion from Maidstone. His hands are made of stone. His name is Sam Noakes, and he makes the first defence of his European crown against a game-hungry challenger from Italy, Gianluca Ceglia. And we're going to start with the main event. We're actually going to begin with 12 rounds for the EBU European Lightweight Championship. Let's first welcome to the scales the challenger with a record of 21 wins, 4 defeats and 1 draw, with 4 wins coming by way of knockout from Campania, Italy, Gianluca Ceglia. Gianluca Ceglia, former Italian lightweight champion, is the mandatory challenger for Sam Noakes' European Lightweight Championship. £134 and 3 ounces for the challenger, Gianluca Ceglia, with his chain and hat on. Now it is time, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome to the scales, with a record of 14 wins and no defeats, with 13 big wins coming by way of knockout. Here's the unbeaten British, Commonwealth, WBO International, and he is the reigning, defending EBU European Lightweight Champion. Please welcome from Maidstone, Sam Noakes. £134 and 8 ounces for the champion, Sam Noakes. We're going to face off now. Both fighters have made weight for the main event tomorrow evening. Live from 7 o'clock on TNT Sports will be British boxing's spiritual home of York Hall. Sam Noakes, Gianluca Ceglia, your main event. Let's get a face off.
Face front, Sam, face front, Sam. Good. Face off, boys. Well done, boys. Thank you very much.
12 rounds for the EBU European Lightweight Championship, the main event tomorrow evening at York Hall. Let's continue the weigh-in process. One of the contests tomorrow evening, 4 rounds in the super lightweight division. Let's first welcome to the scales, with 40 contests to his credit, from Southampton, Santiago Garces. Santiago Garces tomorrow evening takes on Keno White, who will be making his professional debut. Just a reminder, we'll be live from 7 o'clock on TNT Sports, and your main event, Sam Noakes against Gianluca Ceglia. £144.4 for Santiago Garces. Now let's welcome to the scales. He is making his professional debut from Lowestoft. Please welcome Keno White. £143 for Keno White.
Face off, boys. Thank you, boys.
4 rounds in the super lightweight division tomorrow evening at York Hall. We'll continue the weigh-in process once again with 4 rounds in the super lightweight division. Let's first welcome to the scales with a record of 2 wins and 2 defeats, with both of his wins coming by way of knockout. Joining us from Dekin, Czech Republic, Marek Correa. £141.9 for Marek Correa. Okay, now let's welcome to the scales, making his long-awaited professional debut. Please welcome from Swindon, John Isaacs. £142.7 for John Isaacs.
Middle, boys. Face front. Face front. Face front. Ingo. Where's Ingo Emilov? Starting man, just
Okay, 4 rounds in the super lightweight division tomorrow evening at York Hall, the professional debut of John Isaacs. Our next contest is 6 rounds in the middleweight division. Let's first welcome to the scales with 70 contests to his credit from Sofia, Bulgaria. Please welcome Angel Emilov. £163.2 for Angel Emilov. And now let's welcome to the scales his opponent. He is unbeaten with a record of 10 wins and no defeats, with 2 wins coming by way of knockout. Please welcome from Reading, Joshua Frankham. £162.8 for Joshua Frankham.
Face Face off, boys. Thanks.
6 rounds in the middleweight division tomorrow evening on TNT Sports. Our next contest is 6 rounds in the super lightweight division. Let's first welcome to the scales from Sokolov, Czech Republic, with a record of 4 wins and 2 defeats, with 3 wins coming by way of knockout, Peter Broski. 142.3 pounds. Now let's welcome to the scales, unbeaten with a record of 1 win and no defeats, with that 1 win coming by way of knockout, from Washington Northeast, Luke McCormack. 143.6 pounds for Luke McCormack. Fight number 2 for the Olympian Luke McCormack, live on TNT Sports tomorrow evening. Six rounds in the super lightweight division, Luke McCormack and Peter Broski, live tomorrow evening on TNT Sports. Our next contest is 4 rounds in the featherweight division. Let's first welcome to the scales, with 32 contests to his name, from Managua, Nicaragua, Darwin Martinez. 125 pounds for Darwin Martinez. Now let's welcome to the scales his opponent, unbeaten with a record of 2 wins and no defeats, with 1 win coming by way of knockout, joining us from Rochester, Classy Charlie Hickford. 126 pounds for Classy Charlie Hickford. Charlie Hickford, Darwin Martinez, 4 rounds in the featherweight division tomorrow evening, live on TNT Sports from York Hall. Our next contest, 4 rounds in the featherweight division. Let's first welcome to the scales, with 40 contests to his name, joining us from Valencia, Spain, Joshua Ocampo. 130.9 for Joshua Ocampo. Now let's welcome to the scales his opponent, unbeaten with a record of 1 win and no defeats, joining us from St Albans. Please welcome Christian, the Future Fetty. 130 pounds for Christian, the Future Fetty. Let's get some photos down the front and a face-off. Fighters are being encouraged to put their trousers on. Okay, 4 rounds in the featherweight division. Christian, the future Fetty, taking on Joshua Ocampo. It's the Queensberry debut of Christian Fetty. Keep an eye out for that one. Our next contest will be 6 rounds in the super lightweight division. Let's first welcome to the scales with 18 contests to his credit. Joining us from Palma de Mallorca, Spain, Ezequiel Guergueros. 141.9 pounds for Ezequiel Guergueros. Now let's welcome to the scales his opponent, unbeaten with a record of 8 wins and no defeats, with 5 of those wins coming by way of knockout. Joining us from Cork, Ireland, please welcome the Irish takeover, Stephen Cairns. £140 for Stephen Cairns. And just a reminder again, we'll be live from 7 o'clock on TNT Sports. The main event, Sam Noakes, Gianluca Ceglia, EBU European Lightweight Championship on the line. You're looking at Stephen Cairns taking on Ezequiel Guergueros. Okay, 6 rounds in the super lightweight division, Stephen Cairns and Ezequiel Guergueros. The final contest that we will weigh in is for the vacant Commonwealth Featherweight Championship. It's 2 unbeaten featherweights. Let's first welcome to the stage, with a record of 7 wins and no defeats, with 1 of those wins coming by way of knockout, joining us from Inverness, Scotland, George Stewart. 124.7 pounds for George Stewart. And now let's welcome to the scales, unbeaten with a record of 10 wins and no defeats, with 7 of those wins coming by way of knockout, joining us from Islington, Masood Supermas Abdulah.
Bang on. Yeah.
£125 for Masood Abdulah. Both fighters make way. The vacant Commonwealth Championship on the line. This will be your chief support tomorrow evening live on TNT Sports. 12 rounds for the vacant Commonwealth Featherweight Championship. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the weigh-in part of today's live stream. Stay with us. We're going to have an interview with a few of the people around the room. Thank you. Well, that was the weigh-in process. I'm delighted to be in the company of Francis Warren. And Francis, your man, Sam Noakes, 14-0 from Maidstone, hands made of stone. Big fight for him. Important fight.
It's an important fight because it's, you know, these mandatories, you know, he hasn't got there by accident. He's a notoriously tough guy. And, you know, yesterday at the press conference he had plenty to say. And, you know, he came in, you know, obviously confident with the weight sake, weighing with his chain and his hat on. So he knew he's done his work. He knew exactly where he was at. And I fancy he's coming in to try and upset the apple cart because, you know, Sam's at a very important stage of his career. I mean, obviously every fight is the biggest fight of any fighter's career, but there's so much on the horizon that particularly, you know, for Sam Noakes for the next 12 to 18 months, and just slightly taking his eye off the ball could be a problem. However, we all know how hard Al Smith trains his guys. We all know how tough Sam Noakes is, and he's obviously, if he ever did get in any trouble in any fight, he's got those, as you said, hands made of stone. So listen, Sam Noakes is, I think he's one of a kind for me. He's not just one of the nicest guys you'll meet out of the ring. He's one of the hardest working guys in the gym, and one of the nastiest buggers in the ring as well.
I can vouch for the nice guy thing as well. I mean, normally on weigh-in day, when they're having to really drain down, fighters are moody. Fighters don't want to talk. He was having a laugh and a joke with me back there. How is he just always a nice man?
Good family.
Yeah.
Good family. You know, good morals. You know, he's been brought up by a very, very loving, close family, and you can see that always on fight night. Even when it's not one Sean or Sam fighting, you know, they'll always come and support the local Kent fighters. You know, his mum and dad are always there supporting Moses and Charlie Hickford or Mason Payne. You know, they're a real tight-knit community down there in Kent, and it's a real nice thing to see that you know they've all got each other's back. But he's just the self-belief in Sam, especially since that Mendy fight and going the distance with somebody who of vastly greater experience than himself. A shutout win against a very, very tough man in Mendy to secure his fourth title in four fights. I just, you know, for me, it's made his shoulders go back, his head go higher, and he believes in himself now that he could be he's that close to mixing it with some of the top guys in the world. Not just, you know, obviously this is mandatory for European crown that he's got to go and take care of. I think now, you know, we're knocking on the door for eliminators within the next sort of 2 or 3 fights. There's no one in Britain left for him apart from the obvious guy, which I'm sure you're going to mention.
Mr. Mark Chamberlain.
Mr. Mark Chamberlain. We can't get away from that one, and I know Mark's probably sick of Sam's name and vice versa. But you know, it's a fight down the road that we all want to see. Mm-hmm. But first and foremost, Sam, it's, you know, he's building his ranking with the WBO nicely. You know, and there's a few other titles out there that, you know, we go and pick up a ranking with the BF or the BC. I know he's in the top 15 with the BC, so that's another route. You know, you can always looking for potential fights within all the top 5 and 6 of the governing bodies, because you never know, you might go and pick up a voluntary against one of the superstars. Mm-hmm. You never know. So. Well,
I mean, why? I mean, yeah, they might take it because he's Sam Noakes. He's become quite a popular guy, but hands made of stone. You know, it's one of those, isn't it?
Absolutely. But listen, the Americans always think that, you know, sometimes they might think the Brits, you know, well, they've got good records. Sometimes they think, oh, quite, you know, it's a good name. It's, you know, he's got a great record. He's going to get decent press from the UK, and they might, you know, one day they might want to bring him over to the States and say, come and see, you know, come and see if you can mix with one of our guys. And I don't think he'd hesitate, to be honest. I think he's in that mindset now where he thinks, I'm about ready to go and mix it with some of the top guys in the world. But you know.
He says he wants to get his streak going again. That streak was a thing of beauty. 13-0, 13 knockouts, right? And Mendy's an okay guy to lose it against because nobody knocks him out. But Ceglia, he's only been stopped once, 10 years ago, higher weight. tough guy to do it against to get the streak back going.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. But he's got to take care of business if he wants to keep hold of the title. He worked so hard to win against Mendy. He's got to take care of his mandatory. And there was, there's other fights. There was other fights offered. But Sam said, no, I don't want to just vacate because this guy's not particularly well known. No disrespect to him, not particularly well known. It's not like it's set in the world. It's not one of those fights that everyone's going, oh wow, But it's a big fight for him to get to get the respect, I think, of being European champion. You beat a mandatory challenger, I think you're thought of in a different light. To get his knockout streak back, we'll have to see. But he's going to have to wear him down. He's going to have to keep on him. He's going to have to rough him up. And I think if you look at something like the fight against Lewis Sylvester, for example, everyone thought that might have been a tough night at the office. I lost my voice for 2 weeks after that fight. I genuinely thought that Lewis was going to come and cause him problems. Not necessarily problems in terms of getting beat, but I thought he might have dragged him into later rounds. But Sam does something to people, and I've said it before. He's expanding foam. He gets on you and does not let you go. And I think this guy might find it a slightly tougher night than people are expecting. And I think Sam gets a stoppage late on.
Well, we very much look forward to seeing that. I've got to ask you another thing on the whole Mark Chamberlain aspect. Obviously, it's a fight, both unbeaten, both being built up very, very nicely. There's another factor to that. There's another element. Mark Chamberlain, is managed by Frank Warren, your father. You manage Sam Noakes, the son. How on earth is all of this going to work? What is Sunday dinner going to be like at the Warren table?
Well, the week before the fight, there's no Sunday dinner. It's we're going into battle, and no, listen, we do the best for our guys, and it's the first time it's ever happened. So if it does ever happen, if it does happen when that fight happens, sort of standing in opposite corners, so as to speak, it'll be be good. It's a good story. It's a good angle for the fight, and we'll enjoy it. We'll enjoy the rivalry, and we're a competitive family. And it'll be fun. It'll be a very serious situation. But there will be a wry smile on both our faces as we look at each other across the ring.
Oh, I love it.
But fortunately, it'll be the two guys most important in the whole situation are the fighters. So it'll be them doing the fighting, not me and my dad.
I should think so too, Francis. Francis, thank you so much. We're going to let you go.
Thanks,
we're going to swap you out. And best of luck to you tomorrow evening. Well, you're not fighting again, but let's bring in Stephen Cairns and Dave Caldwell. Hello, Stephen. How are you, sir?
How you doing, Rich?
Irish Takeover. Hello,
Hi,
Dave.
right.
How are you, mate? First time we've actually done this on screen together, right?
Yeah.
Is he any good?
He's not bad.
Yeah.
He's not bad. I'll be honest with you. I'm pretty much excited about where he's at, where he's going. The thing that's impressed me most over the last 18 months is his development of his IQ. He can punch. He's always been able to punch. When he came to me as an 18-year-old kid, he could punch. But it's the refinement, it's the setups, the intelligence, it's the punch picking, and it's just the maturity. He's boxing Uzbekistan, boxing Spain, Denmark, boxing everywhere, and so it's all storing in there, and his IQ's increasing really, really well.
Well, they call you the Irish Takeover, my friend. What is the plan for Stephen Cairns? Talk me through it.
I want to take over.
The world or just Ireland?
The world.
Yeah. Tell us about it.
Fight by fight. The Irish Takeover is like I want to bring all of Ireland together, and I want to show other Irish athletes, boxers, young boxers, this younger generation that it can be done. I want to be the best boxer to ever come out of Ireland. That's my plans by the time I finish.
I love that ambition. I can see it in your eyes as well. Goodness me, you're looking right. You mean it. There is a fire in the eyes of Stephen Cairns. So what can we expect from you tomorrow night at your call?
You can expect a high boxing IQ along with some heavy hands. And when two of them mix, I think it's a knockout. I think that's what you can expect tomorrow night.
That is a great little cocktail for success that day.
Yeah. I always think that the problem with young fighters is when they can punch is that all they do is go over looking out for that punch, looking out for power, looking out for the highlight reel, and early doors and when we first started working together, that's what it was. But now I just love watching him go to work. I love seeing his brain tick. I love he follows the instructions. He tries, and we look at these fights as it's not about going in there crash bang wallop. It's about practicing what we do in the gym, because when you're in against good fighters and you get into title class, fellow prospects, things like that, then it's not just a case of going in there and letting your hands go. You've got to work openings, you've got to think about things, you've got to be careful about shots coming back. So we look to practice things that we do in the gym at this level, And ideal world for me is not like 1-2 round knockouts. I like to get a few rounds because I want that experience for him. He's only a young kid, you know, so I'm not in a rush with him. I want him just to develop and to soak up the big fight experience. You know, last time out, you know, made his Queensberry debut. Great show, big show, live on TV, and it lasted like an handful of seconds.
Barely saw him.
But the thing is, it wasn't loaded up. It wasn't go out there. He literally just followed instructions. He literally did what we do, and he got rid of the guy, who's not a very easy man to get rid of. So ideally tomorrow, it's a 6th round. We've stepped in, you know, at 3 weeks' notice because he's always fit. We're always training. We don't do camps. So ideally for me, it's a 6th round. Ideally, 5.5 rounds in, then he gets a stoppage.
Is that? Can you promise us some more ring time tomorrow, or
do you want
just
some more ring time?
I mean, I'd like to see like a little bit more, maybe a couple of rounds. Give me something. If Dave wants 5-6 rounds, what are you going to give us?
I might give you 2 or 3.
2 or 3. Okay, I think we can settle on
Just
2 or 3.
for you.
Yeah, thank you, Stephen Cairns. Brilliant. Steve, if you want to jump out, Dave, I'm going to keep you and ask you for a few kind of predictions, a few boxing chat. Let's talk about
boxing chat with Dave.
Let's do it. Let's talk about Anthony Joshua, Daniel Dubois. Give me the Dave Caldwell breakdown of this mega fight.
Well, firstly, I'm going to speak as a fan. As a fan, I think it's so exciting. I think it's a really, really exciting fight. I mean, you've got 2 giants, you know, both so explosive, they can turn each other's lights out like that. They've both got vulnerabilities, they've shown vulnerabilities. They've both had questions in their careers, and they've both come through, you know. If I'm just going to look at bodies of work and black and white, then you've got to say Anthony Joshua's a favourite. For me, he's a favourite. Look at the 2-time heavyweight champion, come back from adversity. Calibre of opponents he's fought throughout. He's got a deep, deep resume. You know, you look through the division, you know, over the last 7-8 years, and you look at the names that he's fought throughout that division. Look at the guys that are around now who he's fought. All that is experience. Even the losses, great experiences. You know, the experience of being in the ring with Usyk for 24 rounds. That's going to teach you, you know. But then you look at Daniel Dubois. He's been brought through, always been champion as this, you know, this big prospect coming through, blasting everybody out. But he's always showed a really good jab, great body work. Then he run into trouble himself, and that the stick that he's had, the reputation that he gathered through a couple of his losses, it's a very, very hard. It's a heavy burden to carry for a fighter, because that's like, it's insulting you in the worst way. And you know, a lot of people question his heart and his desire in those fights, myself included. You know, but I don't mind being wrong when you make an assumption on a fight on what you see. You can only judge on what you see. So I don't mind being wrong if that man goes out and proves me right. And I like that, because then that makes me a fan. You know, and his fight against Jarrell Miller, I thought he answered a lot of demons to himself. Forget about what we think.
There's a fight with himself at times, right?
Yeah. It doesn't matter what we think. When it comes down to fighters and how their brains tick and what matters when they're in there, it doesn't matter what we think on the outside. It's all about what they think about themselves. Mm-hmm. And I think that he got rid of some serious demons in that fight. And then you see the fight against Hrgović, and again the shots that he was taking, he knew what he wanted to do, and no matter what Hrgović was going to do, he was going to get to where he wanted to be. You know, it's almost like, I think in the lead up, I think Hrgović again insulted him, because I think it was something to do with the sparring, and Daniel was like, I was a kid then, you know, and I think it got to him that he's still referring to him as that kid, and he had that fire, and I like to see that. So I think the way that he's come back makes him a really, really dangerous fighter, because I always thought he had the tools. Now, if he's got that mental toughness, that makes him even more dangerous. The only thing that I would say is that, for me, is the amount of times he got hit with that right hand against Hrgović, and you would think that they're prepared to take that right hand away, because they knew going into the fight that Hrgović throws that 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. So you would prepare that. The fact that he still didn't get out of the way of it makes me think, well, if he gets into that position and he gets nailed by AJ just isn't going to just throw that one combination, just a 1-2. You know, he'll come back with a left hook. He'll come out. What makes AJ very, very good in his pomp was his combination punching. He's a very, very fast, heavy-handed combination puncher. So it's a fight that I see both men can take each
Make
other
the
out.
case for either side,
But if
can't
but
you?
but if I'm going to go and pick, and I think a lot of people do pick, is you go on bodies of work and what you kind of seen most of, then I would lean towards AJ and say yes, he wins the fight. But if Daniel Dubois went and knocked out Anthony Joshua, would I be shocked and surprised like when Andy Ruiz did? No, because he's got the tools to do it. So I just think it's a great fight. It's a great fight, great undercard. I can't wait for it.
Absolutely. Well, great breakdown as well. Tell me about this. Daniel Dubois, for so long he was seen as the young guy coming through. It feels like now
Still
at this
is young.
stage, he is. He's 27 tomorrow, actually.
Right.
So he's still that young guy, but it feels like there's also experience now as well.
Yeah.
He's young and experienced. He's been doing this since he was 19 years
Real
old.
fights.
Real fights. You talk about stadiums, the pressure. He's
Yeah.
done stadiums. He's won in stadiums. He's lost in stadiums. Do you think people are perhaps overlooking that?
Perhaps overlooking people that don't know what they're talking about. Perhaps overlooking the experience. People that know, understand that he's had a real fight. I always say real fights make real fighters. You know, you can pad your record and have a fantastic looking record, knocking out people and having no questions asked. But even in defeats and even in bad moments, getting knocked down, experiencing getting knocked down and coming back up, and how you ride the rounds out, how you manage to ride the round out and come back and win, which they did against, was it
Kevin Lorena?
Yeah. So in fights like that, I see it as adding armour to yourself. So the experience he's got is fantastic. He's like a seasoned fighter at now 27 years old tomorrow, like you say. Yes, he's fought in big arenas and big stadiums, but I just don't. I've been at Wembley when it's packed. I was there when AJ boxed Klitschko. I was there with Froch versus Groves. When Wembley's packed, and we saw Dillian Whyte against Tyson Fury. I don't know if the occasion got to him. He wasn't his usual self. It can do things to you, even though you've boxed in big venues. You've boxed at your two-year, you've boxed wherever it's packed out and everyone's there. It just looks surreal when you walk out there, or when you see there as a fan of main event, and you look around Wembley Stadium. You see all the lights with the phones and everything. You see the big ring entrance and everything, and then the ring walk. The ring walk will be nuts when he stood there in the introductions. And if he's looking around and he sees just how big it is, you don't know if that affects him, because he's not actually experienced it to that level. So it is another notch up. Although he's experienced in big fights, I think this is something special. Again, it's a world heavyweight title fight against a fellow Brit, against a superstar name. So the whole concoction together, you don't know how he's going to react to it. I don't think he'll react to it in a negative way. I don't think that, but you just never know. And I just think that as well, he's got an experienced man in Don Charles. Most importantly, it's not just he's experienced, he knows Daniel Dubois, and he knows how to get the best out of Daniel Dubois. And again, with the turnaround that we've seen in him mentally, I put a lot of that down to Don Charles, because I know how a coach has got to be able to gel with the fighter in order for the fighter to trust the coach, the fighter to gel and to be able to take that instruction on. And when he doubts himself, to still be able to go beyond that doubt in order to carry out the instruction, practice, try it out. It doesn't work at the start, but keep going until you nail it. Then you have that confidence to go and do that in the fight. That takes a trust, and that takes a coach to be able to get into a fighter's head and know the fighter. And I think in Don, he's got that man. And so, again, if he is nervous coming out, all fighters are nervous coming out, Don will be able to say the right things in order to keep that. Because nerves is a good thing if you can control it. If you can't control it, that's where it's an issue. But if you can control it, it gives you that edge, it gives you that sharpness, rather than being a bit sloppy and a bit lackadaisical.
What a fight, what a breakdown as well, Dave Caldwell, and best of luck to you and Stephen Cairns for our evening. Great to see you. And that concludes our weigh-in process here. That is it. Live tomorrow night, TNT Sports, the main event, the return of the unbeaten European lightweight champion, Sam Noakes. He takes on his mandatory challenger, Gianluca Ceglia. There's been a little bit of needle, a little bit of beef. The face-off was fairly intense. The fight will be even more intense. Join us 7 o'clock tomorrow evening.